Are you thinking about changing your major because it feels too hard? Well, stay tuned because on tonight's episode, I'm going to give you some things to think about before you make the final decision to throw in the towel. Welcome to tonight's show. I'm your host, Clarissa, and I really want to get the conversation going with this topic about changing your major. So if you're here with this live, why don't you go ahead right now and in the chat, let us know, have you ever considered changing your major? If so, why? And what did you consider changing it to, or what did you change it to if you followed through with your decision? So one of the things that I want to say is most of the women who find She Rocks at College find us because they are going through some struggles academically. They might not be getting the grades it is that they want. They might be procrastinating. They might be dealing with finding the motivation to keep going throughout the semester. And typically at some point in the semester, I will get loads of emails from students all asking the same thing. Should I change my major? When is it okay to change my major? I don't want to work on this anymore. Do you think that it's a bad idea for me to drop out of my program? And when I receive these emails, I know that the students are sending them from a point of desperation. Typically something horrible has happened, such as they have failed a class, or they failed an exam, or they reached a point in the semester where they are about to fail the class and it's become dire for them to make a decision. And the thing is, whenever you're in that space of desperation where the decision feels pressured, where it feels like I need to decide right now, that's never a good place to really make a decision about something that can have such a big impact on your life. Now, I know it's just a major, but it can set you back a year or two, and it also means taking out additional money for student loans. It might extend your time in college, and those are all things that you have to think about. And I think that when we're in the midst of something where it feels like I need to make the decision right now, I need to decide if I'm going to drop out, I need to decide if I'm going to continue on because my life is going and I have to figure out what it is that I want to do. When you're making a decision from that space, it's never good. So one of the things that I want you to understand, if you're really serious about making the decision to change your major, is I think it's important that you know the difference between accepting your reality and accepting what is and choosing to give up, because that's what we're really talking about here when we're discussing and we're having the conversation around changing your major or dropping out of a program or not continuing with your education entirely. So I'm going to give you the definition of giving up. So when you give up, giving up means you decide that you no longer want to work towards something even though you could. So giving up is a choice that you make where you decide, I no longer want to put any effort towards this even though I could. Accepting your reality and accepting what is when you understand that you have no control over the outcome. You have no control over whether what it is that you want will happen or not. And I want to preface this conversation tonight by letting you know that there is nothing wrong with giving up if that's what you want to do. But it is super significant for you to catch that it is a deliberate, intentional choice to no longer work towards your goal even though you could. So many students trick themselves into thinking that they're just accepting their reality, and they'll say things to themselves like, well, if it was meant to happen, it would have happened already. I'm not cut out for this. It's just not in the cards for me. I've been at this for so long. I just don't think it's going to happen. And they say these statements as though they're facts. but really it's just a perception that you're having about what is happening. But if you pay attention to statements like, this is too hard, it's too much work, I'm never going to get this, I can't change how I'm doing in my engineering classes, I can't change the fact that I'm not a good test taker, I can't change the fact that I'm not getting support, or I can't change the fact that I've been failing all of these courses, you'll notice that those thoughts are all coded in false acceptance. You're really just quitting without consciously choosing to quit. You're choosing to quit, and it's super dangerous to lie to yourself about it. If you're going to quit, and if you're going to decide that you no longer want to be in this major, if you decide that you no longer want to continue with your education, if you decide that you no longer want to be at this school, if you decide that you no longer want to continue to pursue whatever path it is that you've been pursuing up until this point, you have to tell yourself the truth about why you're doing it. And the truth is this: this is more work than I am willing to put in right now. This is hard, and I don't want to put in the time to figure it out. I'm not a good test taker, and I'm choosing not to go all in figuring out how I can get better. It feels like I'm never going to get this, and I'm tired of putting in the effort to understand it, so I'm not going to. Acceptance often gets justified by these false excuses. And acceptance is more along the lines of, I'll give you an example of the difference between choosing to give up and acceptance. So let's say, for example, that you needed a 3.5 GPA to get into a particular graduate program, and you didn't quite meet the requirements. Your GPA is a 3.0. Accepting is understanding that the decision that the school made to not accept you was based on you not meeting the requirement. There's no story about it, it's just facts. The minimum was a 3.5. I have a 3.0. I'm accepting that their decision was based off of that, and there is nothing at this moment that I can do about it. Another example of you accepting something is you ending the semester with a 65 average in the class, which is a D, and you accepting that based off of the effort that you put forth, your grade calculated to a D, and right now, there is nothing more that you can do about changing those facts. That is acceptance. Quitting, on the other hand, is saying, I don't want to put forth the effort to change this situation, even though I could, even though there is more that I could do to actually change this in the direction that I want it to go. The danger in quitting or making a decision without the deliberate and intentional conscious choice is that when you don't understand why you're really quitting, it can have some serious ramifications on your self-worth, on your self-confidence, on your belief system about what you're capable of. Quitting, when we're not telling ourselves the truth about it, causes negative emotions that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. It can cause you to feel regret. It can cause you to always wonder, what if I would have tried? What would have happened if I kept going? What if I would have gone to another tutoring center? What if I would have just applied to one more school? When you don't tell yourself the truth about why you're quitting, why you're wanting to change the major, what happens is that they're tied to it is this essence of I can't. It's an essence of I'm incapable. You begin to identify with this belief system that you're not good enough, which then permeates and transfers out into everything it is that you want to do from then out. So if you really want to make this decision and you're wondering, am I making this decision from a place of acceptance? Or am I making this decision from a place of, I don't want to work on this anymore. I'm choosing to give up. How do you know what space you're in? So here are some things that I want you to pay attention to. The first thing is I want you to pay attention to the thoughts that are showing up when you think about quitting. So are you choosing to quit because it's too hard? Are you choosing to quit because you think that you're not good enough or that you're not capable? Are you choosing to quit because you're tired of failing? I want you to think about and notice all of the excuses or justifications that you're giving yourself about quitting. Take out a pen and paper and write them down. Why don't I want to continue on with this major? If you are bored, if you're not sure if this is even the career path that you want to go down, you've experienced a couple of internships or you've talked to people about, what they're doing with their major, that's completely different. You're making a decision based off of the kind of career it is that you want. But if you are choosing to quit because you feel like you aren't capable, you're not good enough, it's too hard, I've failed so many times already, this is taking too long, this is the third or fourth program that I've been in and I haven't been able to pass one yet, I caution you in making too quick of a decision without going through this process that I'm teaching you right now. Once you've written down all of those thoughts, I want you to think about how those thoughts make you feel. Do you feel empowered or do you feel defeated? If I were to ask you why you're quitting your major, why you're changing your major, why you decided to drop out of college, are you going to feel good about the reason you're giving me? Or are you going to feel ashamed about the reason you're giving me? Acceptance feels like freedom. It feels expansive. It feels like peace. It feels like a true deep understanding. Giving up, which again, I will reiterate the definition, is choosing to not work on something even though you could. When you're not telling yourself the truth about the fact that you're giving up, will give you temporary relief from the current discomfort that you're feeling. So that anxiety about possibly failing or it taking too long, when you choose to quit, you'll feel good for a little while. Giving up often feels rushed, it feels urgent, and it feels pressured. Again, this is giving up when you're not telling yourself the truth about it. It is okay if you have decided, I no longer want to work on this major because I'm not willing to put in the effort anymore. I'm done. I'm tired of putting in the effort. And I'm okay with the fact that I don't want to work on this anymore. I did this with my medical school. So you guys know that I was on track. I was pre-med. I wanted to become an OBGYN. My grades weren't where they needed to be. And I made the choice when I had that conversation with my advisor where she told me, you don't have what it takes to make it in the medical field. I accepted the fact that my grades weren't going to get me into medical school. That was a fact. I had to accept that. Now, I could have gone into a baccalaureate program that would have helped my chances of getting into medical school if I chose to go down that path. But I decided at that point that even though I could do more, even though I could go into a baccalaureate program, even though I could retake classes, even though I can do all the studying to, have a really high MCAT scores, I decided I don't want to go down this path anymore. I don't want to put in the effort to do all of that. So I'm going to figure out a different way to deliver babies. And I did that by becoming a nurse. But I have no regret about my decision because I consciously, deliberately, and intentionally chose not to work on that, even though I could. If you're gonna give up, just tell yourself the truth about it. Don't lie with excuses like it's too hard or I'm incapable. I'm not getting the support that I need. This is taking too long. Don't lie to yourself because you will regret it when you make your decision to give up from that space. Acceptance sounds like I'm not happy with the grades that I'm getting right now. I'm not happy with how I finished the semester. I'm not happy with how long it's taking me to pursue this degree. And I can't change what has happened in the past, but I'm willing to do better. I'm willing to put forth the effort to do better. But giving up is different. And again, it produces thoughts like, what if I could have? What would have happened if I just tried? Man, right now I could be delivering some babies as an OBGYN. I would have already been a lawyer in a courtroom. It produces an air of regret with unanswered questions of a life you'll never get to live. And you carry that for the rest of your life if you're not consciously understanding what giving up means. Before you choose to quit your major, ask yourself, is this really something I have no control over? If I give up, will I regret it? If I give up, do I really want to give up? That's a really good question to ask yourself. Do I really want to give up? Or am I just doing it because I feel like I have no other choice? If I choose not to give up, am I willing to go through all of the effort, all of the discomfort, all of the challenges that it's going to take in order for me to achieve this goal? We've all, as a society, have been fed this lie that life is supposed to be easy and effortless and challenge-free. It's all freaking bullshit. The truth is that through effort and through doing really hard things and through overcoming failures and finally achieving what it is that you want is how you become who you are. It's how you build character. It's how you build strength. It is part of humanity. 50% of the time, we're going to feel like shit. It's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies. It's not going to be all easy. And then 50% of the time, it's going to feel flowy and it's going to feel airy. But when you go into life and when you go into your goals and when you go into the things that you want to achieve in your life, knowing that 50% of the time, it's going to require me to show up when it gets hard, you're not as easily knocked down. It's when you have all these visions of, oh, it's going to be perfect and it's going to be easy, all these expectations, and when life isn't that way, you quit. When it's not turning out the way that you've planned. But when you expect it, when you understand that that is part of life, you can dust yourself off when you fall down and not make it mean anything. If you've decided not to give up and to keep working towards your career goals, I want to invite you at this moment to join us in Your Best Semester Yet. It's a 5-day challenge that I'm hosting in January. And it is going to help you to create a step-by-step plan to get in the right mindset, to stick to your new study routines, to stop procrastinating, to set goals, and create a plan that will help you step into your brilliance this semester. So the link for that is going to be posted in the comment thread in the chat. It's bit.ly/bestsemesteryet. And just make sure that the first letter of each of those words is capitalized. But again, we'll put it in the description box. We'll put it in the comments. It's bit.ly/bestsemesteryet. I want to thank you for tuning into tonight's show. And if you're not already, make sure that you hit the subscribe button right now, because we go live with this show every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to stick around right now and actually go through the chat and answer some questions to see what you guys are saying about changing majors, how you're feeling about it all. So let me go ahead and take a look. So Amy says that she's definitely thought about changing her nursing major. Valga says that she's considering a double major because she loves both subjects and her grades are really good in both. Evelyn says that she's changing her major from nursing, it looks like, to respiratory because the classes are easier to transfer. And then we have Cynthia who says, yes, she originally applied to, it looks like, a math major and her grades were not that great. She enjoyed the material but switched to economics. So again, it's totally fine if you choose to quit. It's totally fine if you choose not to continue to pursue whatever it is that you're pursuing. But you need to make sure that you're telling yourself the truth about what you're doing. You're making a deliberate choice to not continue to work towards something even though you could. When you're telling yourself the truth about it, there's no danger in it, there's no harm, because you don't create that environment where you'll regret the choice that you made. It's when you lie to yourself about why you're quitting. It's when you let the fears, the limitations, the excuses of I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, and calling it quitting, that causes the issues down the line with your self-worth as a human. So I hope that this conversation was helpful. Again, I know that the topics that I talk about here on She Rocks at College are not these airy-fairy conversations. I'm not going to just give you 5 tips, because that's not what we do here. We go deep. We talk about the things that no one else is talking about, because I want to make sure that you're understanding the things that really impact your life and really change the way that you're living and then change the way that you're experiencing your college right now. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great night.